Hey, welcome back. Today's lesson is iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17 says, Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. So this verse popped up for me this week, and every time I read this verse, it reminds me of Justin and Kyle. Having those two in the house, I got to learn firsthand what that verse means. And as I was studying it this week, I came across about sharpening a knife and how that works. And it said that when a knife needs sharpened, they sometimes use another knife or steel. And it says that they do this for two reasons. One reason they sharpen a knife with steel is because it smooths out the rough edge on the blade. The other reason is because it helps revive that edge after it's been used for cutting or slicing for a while. It's gotten dull. Another thing that I learned was that sharpening iron or a knife is done using friction. And it involves work and it takes time to get that blade to where it needs to be. So when Justin and Kyle were growing up, they were just like this. Iron sharpening iron. They were rough around the edges. They were set in their ways. They were very set in their ways. They were very strong-willed. They needed sharpened, but they didn't really know that they needed sharpened. And with these two boys, everything was a competition. Everything. Even going to the car for us, us getting ready to go somewhere, even them going to the car was a race. Every single time. Everything was a competition. And, because whoever got to the car first, that's who got the front seat. So it was all the time with these two. So with those two, there was sometimes friction. They're boys. They argued like brothers. They didn't hold back. If they didn't agree with each other, they let each other know it. And they didn't just argue, they also encouraged each other. They also built each other up. They were there for each other. They had each other's back. It's just what they did. And, when they encouraged each other, it would just pick them up. And, if you're having a bad day, hey, I'm here for you. That kind of thing. And when they argued, let me explain. When they argued, they learned that you are not going to always agree with someone else. They learned in their arguing that someone else had a different opinion than they did, or had a different belief than they did. And they learned to listen to each other. They didn't only learn to listen to each other, they learned to listen to each other and respect what the other one had to say. They didn't hold a grudge. They just may have disagreed a time or two. And that taught them that not everyone is going to agree with them. Not everyone is going to agree with what they're saying. And that's okay. So they learned, growing up together like that, how to listen to people and how to respect what the other one was saying, even though you may still not agree with that person. You listen and you respect what they're saying. It was as simple as that. And me getting a chance to watch this unfold and watch them learn and grow like that, it was pretty amazing, because you could see God working. You could see God smoothing out those edges. and sharpening them and growing them and teaching them. And he taught them through each other. So it was pretty cool to see. And not only did they teach each other, they taught me. They taught me and my husband because we learned from them and they learned from each other. They made each other better. Iron sharpens iron. And that's what we do as Christians, as believers. We sharpen each other. We make each other better. We help each other grow in our relationship with God. God uses other people to teach us. God uses people to encourage us. And we know that those things are coming from Him. And it said that when iron blades are rubbed together, each becomes sharper and thus more effective. So in those growing up times that Justin and Kyle had, not only did they make each other better, they made each other more effective. They made each other better at communicating with others and making others feel important or making others feel encouraged or lifted up or whatever it may be. They just know how to talk to people. They know how to listen to people because they butted heads for you. You're welcome. God really taught them through growing up together that not everybody's going to be the same. Not everybody's going to agree. And there's a process that you have to listen and respect and encourage. So they had each other. They picked each other up. They not only did they pick each other up, just when they might think they've made it or that they've got it made or they know they got it all together, they have a sister that sometimes would just bring them back down to reality and let them know, you're not as cool as you think you are. Not everybody thinks this way. Not everybody thinks the way that you do. So she had a way of grounding them and bringing them back down to a little bit of reality. So, what are sisters for? So in Ecclesiastes 4, 9 and 10, it says, 2 are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. So I'm thankful that they had each other. I'm thankful that they had a sister that tended to make sure that they knew they needed to be grounded a little bit. So iron sharpeneth iron. We're all in this together. We make each other better. We encourage each other. We pray for each other. We lift each other up. As believers, that's what we're called to do. We're called to make each other better. Encourage each other in our relationship with God. We're not in this alone. We're community. We're in this together. And that's what God has given us. And I'm thankful for the community and the families that He's put us all together to encourage each other, to learn from each other, and to grow. I've said many times, my kids have taught me over the years. God has used my kids to teach me, and He still does. Just like I said, this verse, in Proverbs, iron sharpeneth iron. Every time this verse pops up, it reminds me of these kids. And I think more and more about how they learned and how they learned from each other. But as they're learning from each other, we're watching this. And we're watching them learn and watching them grow. And I'm seeing firsthand how we as believers are supposed to be, how we're supposed to work together, and how we're supposed to come together. We may not all agree on something, but we can listen to each other and respect each other enough. We still may not agree. That's okay. We can still love each other, we can still learn, and we can still grow. I thank you guys for being here with me today. I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for sharpening me. You encourage me all the time, and I appreciate it more than you know. So I hope that you have a great week, have a great day, and sharpen somebody today, encourage somebody today, and know that when you're doing that, you're doing what God has called you to do. So thank you for being here. Thanks, guys.